This channel has been reporting on the topic of the collapse of civilization and the collapse of the matrix since around 2020. This is because I have come to understand that the foundation, framework, and backbone of this world is made up of authoritative lies and fabrications. The topic started with nutrition and medical care in 2020 and continued with gross betrayals such as flat earth, mud flood, and fabrication of history. I also learned that Darwin's theory of evolution and Einstein's theory of relativity are not exceptions to fabrications or lies. Furthermore, it has become clear that the mass media, politicians, entertainers, academics, celebrities, and other authority figures that are familiar to everyone are simply paid liars hired by money. This culture of corruption, bribery, and greed was inevitably linked to crimes against humanity. And we are also telling you that there are deep underground demons at the root of these dark systems. What happens when such corruption, betrayal, and malicious manipulation is exposed in a company or organization? As 1 + 1 = 2, companies and organizations will inevitably collapse. An organization is doomed to collapse when the trust of its participants is lost. So the question is, what would happen if our civilization was really a hoax created by lies and fabrications? And for all of you who watch this channel, there is no longer any doubt that lies and deceit are the main backbone of this civilization. However, even I, who continue to promote this statement, have come to fully realize that everything that I have been taught and the knowledge that I have acquired up until now is essentially a malicious lie. It is a difficult situation to do so. Even if you understand it completely in your head, the feeling of reality comes at a time lag. It is difficult to continue to feel that we are living in a matrix world, a world made up of so many lies and fabrications. We are still half asleep and can be said to be living in a dream. However, because our own consciousness and knowledge has recognized lies, fabrications, and malicious intent in this world, that recognition itself has a great influence on the direction of this society. This is the reason for the abnormal increase in the number of students refusing to attend school. Just as the events of 2020 significantly changed our consciousness, we believe that these events encouraged junior high school students who were potentially refusing to attend school to actually refuse to attend school. And as we are doing, we point out that the shape of the earth, history, nutrition, medicine, academics, schools, politics, government, universities, the media, and everything else are telling malicious lies. It is thought that if this is repeated throughout the year, this recognition will gradually permeate society. In fact, many of you who are currently watching my channel may not have noticed such information that would make you distrust society and civilization in 2020 or 2021. That's what I think. However, you are becoming aware of this, and more people are becoming aware of it. And as recognition of the fact that the framework of this society is made up of lies, fabrications, corruption, and malice spreads, it is only natural that loyalty to this social system itself will decline significantly. Due to these various circumstances, junior high school students who are potentially refusing to attend school are now able to actually do so. And the truth was that there was no point in attending elementary school, junior high school, university, or anywhere else. The school lunches provided at the schools themselves are based on incorrect nutritional science and are made up of rice, bread, sugar, and other foods that are loaded with carbohydrates and make you feel dizzy. And it is a brainwashing education system that is like a torture worse than that of primitive times, where people are forced to tie themselves to desks and chairs and memorize knowledge that is often false and fabricated. In addition, it is essentially a competitive system where the weakest survive, with students competing in memorization contests of fabricated knowledge, and a nonsensical training system that tests the complexions of adult-like faculty members who have never had a social life. Naturally, children's minds develop in a distorted manner, and in this competition of the fittest, a phenomenon occurs in which cunning and psychopathic children bully kind and conscientious children and push them aside from their peers. We suffered from this abnormal system in our generation, even in our childhood schools decades ago. This situation has not improved to this day, and the environment in which children's human rights are violated continues due to the educational system, adult-like teachers, and psychopathic classmates. In junior high schools in Tokyo, Osaka, and Kobe, the percentage of students refusing to attend school has already jumped to around 8% to 10%. Nationwide, statistics for 2022 show that nearly 200,000 junior high school students are refusing to attend school, or about 6% of the total. Between 6% and 10% of the children are unable to endure the cruel, pointless, brainwashing education that we have experienced at junior high schools. It has reached this point. Generally, children who refuse to go to school are criticized for being weak and unable to adapt to society, but in reality, the opposite is true. They are simply sensitive children who have naturally withdrawn from an environment dominated by crazy adults and psychopaths. Many of these children and their parents may not yet understand this, but the reality is that there is no value in attending school at all. Most of the knowledge that forms the basis of education itself is lies and fabrications. The educational system itself is outdated and inefficient, and the purpose of education is to force painful memorization, which deprives children of freedom and inspiration. It is also clear that the goal is to steal them and create slave machines for a competitive society. Whether they knew it or not, 8% to 10% of junior high school students in the Tokyo metropolitan area, Tokyo, Osaka, and Kobe, naturally chose the benefits of not attending such junior high schools over the disadvantages of attending them. In the future, many more people will realize, just like you, that the backbone of this world is made up of malicious fabrications and lies. Isn't it obvious if you look at the difference between your own level of awareness as of 2020, the level of awareness of those around you, and the level of awareness as of today? The process of realizing this truth is progressing steadily. And even though most people still have a negative image of refusing to attend junior high school, the fact that 10% of children at the local level are already choosing not to go to school has been brought to light. Eventually, many people come to realize that choosing not to go to school is the best choice. If the number of junior high school students who openly refuse to go to school increases, the number of children who choose to refuse to go to school will jump from the current 6% to 30% or 60%. It is no exaggeration to say that we have entered the stage where a civilization of lies, fabrications, and malicious brainwashing has collapsed. Our society has already entered that zone, and it is clear that this process will continue to progress. For the past 2 years, we have repeatedly advocated that students should actively abandon school and quit school. However, behind this was a resigned recognition that the absolute majority of children and parents still believed that it was absolutely necessary for them to attend school. However, the reality is that children have become more rational than we thought, and an unexpectedly large number of families are actually abandoning compulsory education, which is clearly wasteful and harmful. The collapse of this fragile society, dominated by money, competition, and ego, has already begun. It's like a sandcastle collapsing. Adults are also beginning to reject wasteful and poor living and working environments. In the first half of 2024, there were 182 bankruptcies due to labor shortages, 65% higher than the record high in 2023. In particular, the construction and logistics industries are at the center of companies going bankrupt due to labor shortages. The number of industries experiencing labor shortages is wide-ranging, starting with the information services industry, as well as construction, transportation, and restaurants. In addition, ramen shops and yakiniku restaurants are going bankrupt at the highest rate ever. Of course, due to the weak yen and rice shortage, increasing purchase prices for raw materials such as wheat, meat, and rice are also major factors. However, in addition to this, the shortage of human resources is a major problem in the restaurant industry. Since this industry is a business that provides food at low prices, its business is naturally affected by the rise in material costs. But behind the scenes, the reality is that labor costs are being reduced to the limit in the first place. It is a well-recognized fact that the working environment and conditions are harsh in this industry, just like the restaurant industry, convenience stores, and other retail industries, as well as the construction and transportation industries that were mentioned earlier. To begin with, the money economy of capitalism is a fraud and a system of exploitation. But a situation has arisen in which people are breaking out of the business model where they are extremely exploited with low wages. The number of people who go to such lengths and say they don't want to work is increasing. Until now, just like at school, there was a psychological push to work hard, maintain a certain level of life, and improve social appearance and face. However, as it is now, this society is built on lies, fabrications, and exploitation, and the fact that people are being exploited for money means that it is really, essentially, nothing more than slave labor. We are starting to notice this. In that case, you end up thinking that it's okay if you don't have to go to such lengths to get a job. At the level of children's education, from junior high school, where the pressure suddenly increases and children feel uncomfortable, an increasing number of families find that their foundations are shaky and they can no longer endure such an inhumane environment. In addition, it was clear to everyone that university education was essentially meaningless, as it was only for face value, and it was used to gain an advantage in job hunting later on. And the education at that university is really fake academics, fabricated academics, lies, and is just a stupid university professor telling students to kill time and get money. I also understand that. There is no point in wasting time and money on such non-essential waste, such as forcing people to memorize stupid things, going to cram schools that cost money and suffering, and competing for meaningless entrance exams. It has already been revealed that there is no such thing. The educational system, from elementary school to university, is already beginning to collapse. And even if we try to maintain university education, its prestige and popularity, families no longer have the financial power to pay for it. Additionally, there are no companies in society that are inherently worth working for. Among these worthless companies, those in particularly poor industries are dying out due to a lack of human resources and going bankrupt. Construction, transportation, food and beverage, information services. These are many companies that you know and work in fields that you wouldn't want to work for if you could help it. Statistically speaking, our society has already begun to collapse, and civilization itself is beginning to collapse. Loyalty to society and this civilization as a whole has plummeted. We no longer have to submit to slave rule, poor education, and working conditions, and we are actively turning away from such inhuman slave systems. To all of you who watch this channel, the young generation, elementary school students, middle school students, high school students, and university students, this is not just a person. No more wasting your time on boring, unproductive educational institutions that cost you money. The time has come for us to step away from slave brainwashing and exploitation institutions. In other words, it's time to quit school, have some free time, and start living your own life with your own creativity. The time has come for parents to think about the needless school attendancy and discuss it with their children. Work is not limited to the food and beverage industry, transportation, logistics, construction, and information services, and people can quickly get away from boring, slave labor organizations and find themselves in a state of leisure where they can make free time and express their creativity. You need to migrate. The collapse of civilization and a society of lies and fabrications is approaching right before our eyes. We need to break the chains, stop being slaves, and step into a new world on our own. In the new world, there will no longer be a situation in which people will be used like robots and have fun, where they will be given manual slave labor with kindness and care. Your job is to trust your own inspiration and spark, unleash your creativity to the fullest, and do what you love. When you start doing what you love, you start doing it not for your own sake, but as something that will help others. Do what you love for others. This is the only arrangement for labor in the new world. And in order to do this, you must link your spiritual consciousness with the heavenly and star worlds, receive inspiration, maximize your creativity, and make it happen. At that time, there is no need for a boss, teacher, or leader to guide you or give orders. Essentially, there is no such thing. Your future guidance will be guided by your own inspiration, which will come from the stars in the sky to which you belonged before you were born. In order to properly receive this inspiration, you need to detoxify your body and mind so that your brain neurons, cranial nerves, and pineal gland function properly. And now we need to free ourselves from being dominated by negative memories, including fear and anger, influenced by the cruel and tragic experiences of the past. The fastest way to achieve these goals is through a vegan diet, low-carbohydrate diet, and water fasting, as well as a trauma release method using trauma notes. Physically, it detoxifies the brain from blockages of sugar and chemical seasonings. And on a mental level, it cuts off the process of replaying traumatic memories that continue to cause suffering. Please refer to past videos, hone your own inspiration, and free yourself from fear and brainwashing. Then you will finally unleash your own innate abilities of inspiration and creativity and find and begin the task of turning this world into a paradise. Of course, there is no need for them to go to school and be trained as slaves, and there is no need for them to remain victims in existing companies, businesses, and organizations that are full of human rights oppression, moral harassment, and slave labor. Either way, you have to quit school or work at some point. And if your spouse is causing you pain, you need to get a divorce and be free as soon as possible. I, Endo, have continued to create content that pursues the lies, deceit, and corruption of this society with all my might. And my inspiration is that this is the time to connect with conscious, good people who have detoxed or who are serious about detoxing and create a community just for them. That's why we opened Endo Online Salon for the Japanese audiences. We are a community of people who are serious about detoxing their bodies and brains through veganism and low-carbohydrate diets, and who are serious about releasing trauma and detoxing their minds using the trauma note method. An offline meeting will be held in Osaka in November and an offline meeting in Tokyo in December for salon participants only. We also deepen our relationships through a multi-person video chat once a week. Furthermore, we hold a children's meeting once a week where children from early elementary school to around 20 years old interact via video chat. Children who are already refusing to go to school are particularly welcome. However, if you want to develop your life with your own inspiration and creativity, there is no need to join this online salon. So please move forward in a new era on your own. So today's last is Kazumi's Makuro. Also, we will be doing live shows on Nico Nico channel as usual.
風潮とむくろの波今私の間をすり抜けては嘆くうつろな瞳並ぶ鉄格子の国傲慢と裏切りを諦めで潰した愛と綺麗に飾ってどれだけの命積めばやがて気づくのでしょうか血みどろの叫びすらも檻の向こうに隠して砕いてちぎって罪深き人の闇果て知らぬ欲は自己矛盾の声さえ雑音と捉える冷酷な作業のようにどれだけの涙飲めば世界は変わるのでしょうかほんの一 り分けの山見つめても今も続く残虐に険さしのべられずどれだけの命積めばやがて気づくのでしょう